Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are looking at something completely wild. We tend to really romanticize nature, right? We think of these beautiful, elaborate courtship dances, lifelong bonds, picturesque animal families. But honestly, the reality of the natural world is often way more cinematic, high stakes, and frankly, completely unhinged. Today, we're diving into the tragic love lives of the animal kingdom. We're going to explore 3 specific species that take the whole concept of a hard breakup to an entirely different, incredibly extreme level.
So I want to pose a question to you right out of the gate. What is the ultimate price of survival? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this explainer. Because, for us humans, a successful life usually means longevity, comfort, and well-being. But nature operates on a totally different biological currency. We are going to uncover the bizarre, almost unbelievable biological trade-offs that some animals make for literally one single solitary purpose, just to pass on their genes. And our narrative arc today is going to take us through 3 staggering extremes, really proving that in the wild, the survival of the species as a whole often comes at the absolute ultimate expense of the individual.
The cost of reproduction. In nature, winning means passing on your genes. Let's start with the overworked Jacana bird, also known as the tired single dad of the animal kingdom.
Okay, let's just walk through this hilariously terrible setup. Step 1. The male does literally all the heavy lifting. He builds the nest. Step 2. The female Jacana bird, who, by the way, doesn't build nests at all, simply flies around looking for a guy who's already put in the sweat equity. She inspects his handiwork, and if it looks bad to her, no joke, she will actually beat him up and completely destroy the nest. Step 3, the bruised, battered male has to rebuild the entire thing from scratch, and only when she's finally completely happy with the architecture does Step 4 happen. She lays her eggs, and then she is entirely gone. Just poof.
There is absolutely zero co-parenting happening in the Jacana household. No hatching assistance from the mother, no helping to raise the chicks, nothing. She literally just flies off into the sunset to find another guy and do the exact same routine all over again. So the poor single dad is left completely abandoned to do absolutely everything required to raise these chicks entirely on his own.
Now here is the absolute kicker, the ultimate heartbreaking tragedy of a situation. It's a massive genetic gamble. Because female jacanas mate with multiple males, it's basically a coin toss. Half of the chicks that this exhausted single dad is raising might not even be his. He is pouring all of his energy, all of his time into raising another male's offspring.
Next up, the fatal Antechinus marathon, going absolutely nuts in the wild.
14? That's the number of hours a single mating session can last for an adult male Antechinus mouse. 14 hours straight. Once these males reach adulthood, it's like a biological switch just flips, and they go into complete sheer overdrive. And remember, that 14-hour marathon, that's just with one female, before he immediately moves on to the next one.
But wait, here is the number that makes this truly, truly extreme. 3. They repeat this pure, unadulterated chaos for 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks of continuous mating, with absolutely no eating and absolutely no sleeping. Imagine your body running like a car engine with a brick pressed down on the gas pedal and absolutely no oil left in the tank.
So biologically, what's actually happening here? Well, during this 3-week period, their tiny little bodies are just flooded with cortisol. Now, in normal amounts, cortisol's a highly helpful hormone, right? It's a built-in alarm system that keeps your body alert and energized. But when it floods the system in such massive, unending excess, it becomes a literal poison. It completely destroys their immune system from the inside out.
Let's just trace this gruesome timeline for a second. Hour 14 marks the end of just the initial marathon. Fast forward to week 3, the chaos finally concludes, but the physical toll of 0 food and 0 sleep, combined with that massive cortisol flood, pushes them into the final stage. The excess hormone ravages them so completely that they actually go blind, they lose their fur, their bodies entirely shut down, and they die from absolute exhaustion. Every single male Antechinus dies after their very first mating season. It's a fatal, one-way ticket.
Finally, the Argonaut's ultimate sacrifice, a kamikaze survival strategy.
This brilliantly illustrates just how bizarre ocean life can be. Picture this. The male Argonaut Octopus is so incredibly tiny and so utterly alien in his environment that he can't even swim long distances on his own. So what's his solution? He literally has to hitchhike.
He rides on top of drifting jellyfish just to travel the ocean in the sheer hope of finding a female.
But finding her? Well, that's where the real danger begins. The size difference between the sexes here is absolutely insane. It's a total David and Goliath situation, comparing the tiny male hitchhiker to the giant, cannibalistic female. The stakes literally could not be higher, because if this tiny guy gets too close to her, she won't just reject him, she will eat him alive.
To survive the encounter, he uses a desperate, totally kamikaze strategy. Get this, he literally launches his reproductive arm toward her and then swims away. He actually detaches a specialized tentacle carrying his genetics, throws it at the giant female, and just flees for his life.
Sadly, escaping her jaws doesn't actually mean escaping his fate. The brutal consequence of this biological amputation is completely final. Without that vital reproductive organ, his body simply cannot recover, and he dies shortly after. So yes, he successfully passes on his genes, but it costs him his life every single time.
Nature's bizarre biological trade-offs, the brutally efficient animal kingdom.
So when we look at these three completely distinct environments, the marshlands of the Jacana, the Australian bush of the Antechinus, and the deep ocean of the Argonaut, we clearly see a connecting thread. Let's pull all this together. The Jacana Bird strategy is relentless labor, right? And the cost is complete exhaustion and literally raising another bird's chicks. The Antechinus Mouse goes all in with a marathon strategy, but the cost is total immune collapse and death. And the Argonaut Octopus literally throws away a piece of himself to survive the encounter, resulting in amputation and ultimately death. This just perfectly proves what we discussed at the very beginning. In nature, winning doesn't mean living a long, happy life. It means successfully passing on your genes, absolutely regardless of the cost to yourself.
Which really brings us to our final thought for today. If survival of the species actively requires the destruction, the extreme exhaustion, or the literal demise of the individual animal, what does it really mean to be biologically successful? It's a brutal, deeply fascinating efficiency that totally turns our human understanding of success completely upside down. I really want you to ponder that the next time you look out at the natural world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. It's been a wild ride, and I will see you in the next one.